Welcome friends. In this part, we will today discuss ecological succession, primary succession in an open water body. Primary succession in open water, such as pond or lake, right? In our previous lecture, we discussed primary succession on a bare rock, dry area, such as rock or a desert. Today we will discuss primary succession in a water body, open water body, bare water body, which has no vegetation, no biotic communities. It may be a pond or a lake, right? The succession which takes place in water is known as Hydrach or Hydrosere. The succession which takes place in a dry area is known as Hydrosere, whereas if it takes place in water, अगर ये पानी में take place करती है तो हम इसका नाम रखते हैं Hydrosere. जबकि अगर लैंड एरिया पे, ड्राई एरिया पे, रॉक पे, डेजर्ट में सक्सेशन हो जाती है प्राइमरी सक्सेशन, हम उसको Hydrosere कहते हैं, Hydrach, जैसे मैंने कहा था. Then this aquatic succession which takes place in water, it changes a water body and its community into land community. During aquatic succession, water body and its community is changed into land community. This aquatic succession is completed in many stages. What are those stages? Let us discuss them one by one. The first stage in aquatic succession, in Hydrosere, is first stage. Let me write down here first stage. It is Phytoplankton stage. Phytoplankton stage. Right? While as in Hydrach, it was lichen stage, if you recall. Right? The first stage in an aquatic succession in a Hydrosere is the Phytoplankton stage. Suppose there is a fresh, water body. Suppose this is lake, this is pond. Let me consider that this is a pond. Now, this pond shows succession. The first community, the first species of plants, of living organisms, in this community are the phytoplanktons. Which phytoplanktons? These are unicellular algal species such as diatoms, dinoflagellates, and these may be unicellular blue-green algae also. Unicellular blue-green algae or cyanobacteria. So in as Hydrosere, the pioneer species are the diatoms, dinoflagellates, and cyanobacteria. These are floating. These float on water, hence they are known as phytoplanktons. So, पहले स्टेज को हाइड्रोसियर के स्टेज के पहले स्टेज को इसीलिए प्लैंकटन स्टेज कहते हैं, क्योंकि जो स्पॉन में जहां पे एक्वाटिक सक्सेशन होना है उसमें जो पहले ग्रो करने वाले ऑर्गेनिजम्स हैं वो डायटम्स हैं, डाइनोफ्लैगेलेट्स हैं, साइनोबैक्टीरिया हैं, but these are floating on the surface of water. And you know, when the plants float on surface of water, they are, called as phytoplanktons. It's the reason why the first stage of aquatic succession, Hydrach or Hydrosere, is known as phytoplankton stage, right? Now, how these diatoms, dinoflagellates, and cyanobacteria grow here? They reach to this water body, if it is a lake, by their spores. By their spores. Spores reach there. And then, along with these phytoplanktons, zooplanktons also start growing there. Remember, when we talk of plant succession, ecological succession, we just quote examples of plants, and we also always say plant succession, plants. But it is worth remembering that when we talk of plants, simultaneously the animals, the fungus, other organisms do also succeed in these areas. But we are talking of ecology of plants, hence the reference is more of plants here, right? Now, these phytoplanktons, by the help of their spores, established, showed growth, and these were replaced by zooplanktons. And ultimately, these zooplanktons and phytoplanktons die. When they die, they just settle in the bottom of this water body. Suppose this water body is a pond, right? जब ये phytoplanktons और zooplanktons की डेथ हो जाती है, इनकी जो डेड बॉडीज होती है वो सेटल डाउन हो जाती है एट द बॉटम ऑफ दिस वाटर बॉडी, इस पॉन्ड के बॉटम में, and form a mud or muck. These form a mud or muck. Right? Diatoms, dinoflagellates, mostly diatoms, these over the years, these form a huge mass of their body debris on the bottom of sea floor, which accumulates over years, and that is known as diatomaceous earth, diatomite. You might have heard, आपने previous classes में जब आपने diatoms को पढ़ा होगा तो आपने ये सुना होगा diatomaceous earth, जिसके बहुत सारे uses हैं, commercially वो important है, हम टूथपेस्ट में उसका इस्तेमाल करते हैं, बहुत सारी चीज़ों का हम पॉलिश में उसका इस्तेमाल करते हैं, हम लोग सर्व्स में उसका इस्तेमाल करते हैं। तो इसी तरह से जब ये फाइटोप्लैंक्टन्स एंड ज़ूप्लैंक्टन्स की डेथ हो जाती है तो वो बॉटम में सेटल हो जाते हैं, और सेटल होने के बाद एक थिन लेयर ऑफ ये मड बनाते हैं और मक बनाते हैं, ठीक है, जिसकी वजह से अब इस वाटर बॉडी में थोड़ा सा थिन लेयर ही सही सॉइल बनना शुरू हो गया. Once there is a bit soil, the plants which are rooted try to establish in the area, right? Then comes the next stage of this, that is number 2, submerged stage. submerged stage. Right? Now, the conditions for those plants which may be submerged, which may be living in the water, but they have roots, those plants come now in this water body. They are submerged, but they have roots. And these plants fix their roots in this thin layer of mud. Right? These are submerged, but they fix their roots in this thin layer of mud. And these are submerged plants, which take place, which try to establish themselves in second stage of aquatic succession, which is known as submerged stage. Submerged stage. Right? What kind of plants are these? The plants are, they may be Vallisneria, okay? They may be Hydrella, Utricularia, right? Venus flytrap, it is an insectivorous plant. Again, you might have heard about this plant. Nutrition, insectivorous plants में ये Venus flytrap, जिसको कहते हैं ये इंसेक्ट उसको खाता है, निपेंथीज की तरह, पिक्चर प्लांट जिसको कहते हैं. तो ये ऐसे प्लांट्स हैं जो पानी में सबमर्ज रहते हैं, लेकिन रूट इनके पास होता है, जो थोड़ा सा थिन लेयर ऑफ मड बन गया था बाय द डेड ऑर्गेनिक मैटर and dead remains of, phytoplanktons and zooplanktons at the bottom of pond. उसमें अब ये plants आ गए हैं. ये rooted जरूर हैं, but these are submerged. They remain in water. Okay? Now these plants also die. Submerged rooted plants also die. As a result, this organic matter is added to the thin layer of mud or soil formed by phytoplanktons and zooplanktons. What will happen? As a result, the lake or pond, whatever the water body may be, will now become less shallow. It will become less shallow. Its depth will now start to decrease. इसकी depth कम होती जाएगी, right? Let's come. Then third stage. Now third stage. First stage is the phytoplankton stage. Second stage is the submerged stage. Now third stage is floating stage. Floating stage of aquatic succession. Floating stage of Hydrosere. Floating stage of Hydrach. Many names there are. You can remember only one object, right? Then comes the floating stage. In floating stage, some plants occupy the area. Now the plants come, which float on the surface of soil. Such as we have Nilambo, which floats on surface of soil. Which have Trapa, which floats on surface of soil. On the surface of water, which floats. Pistia. These are some plants which now occupy this water body. These can also grow, in association with submerged plants also. Suppose कुछ submerged plants की डेथ हुई थी दूसरे स्टेप में, submerged स्टेज में, राइट? कुछ रह गए थे. फिर तीसरा जो स्टेज है, एक्वाटिक सक्सेशन का, उसमें क्या हुआ? फिर फ्लोटिंग स्टेज उसको कहते हैं, क्योंकि इसमें फ्लोटिंग प्लांट्स जो सरफेस ऑफ वाटर पे फ्लोट करते हैं, कुछ सबमर्ज्ड प्लांट्स रह गए थे जिनके रूट्स थे ना वो रह गए थे, उनके साथ ये एसोसिएशन में रहने लगते हैं। ठीक है, तो जैसे निलंबो है, ट्रापा है, पिस्टिया है, ठीक है, ये प्लांट्स अब इसमें ग्रो करने लगते हैं। और इन प्लांट्स के लीव्स ब्रॉडर है, इन प्लांट्स के लीव्स ब्रॉडर है, लार्ज है, और ये सरफेस ऑफ वाटर पे एक शेड क्रिएट करते हैं, जिसकी वजह से बाकी रह गए थे, जो बाकी बचे सबमर्ज्ड रूटेड प्लांट्स, जब उनको शेड आ जाती है, अंडर शेड हो जाते हैं, तो लिहाजा वो उनकी डेथ हो जाती है। दे स्टार्ट टू डाई एंड अल्टीमेटली दीज फ्लोटिंग प्लांट्स आल्सो स्टार्ट टू डाई। नाउ देयर इज मोर एडिशन ऑफ ऑर्गेनिक मैटर टू द सॉइल। अब बॉटम ज्यादा बन जाएगा एंड दिस सॉइल, this thin layer will now become thicker in third stage, floating stage. Why? Because free floating plants have their leaves very large and broad. They make a shade on the surface of water, which creates problems for the submerged plants. They don't get the proper sunlight. They fail to photosynthesize. As a result, the conditions become unsuitable for their growth. They die, and ultimately these floating plants themselves also die. And whole this dead organic matter gets accumulated at the bottom of the lake or pond, where the aquatic succession is taking place. As a result, this lake or pond now becomes more shallow. इसकी डेप्थ में और ज्यादा कमी आ जाती है. Then comes the fourth stage. First stage we talked of phytoplankton stage. Then we talked of submerged stage. Plants which were submerged but they were having roots. Then we talked of floating stage, right? Now fourth stage is reed swamp stage. Reed swamp stage. Reed swamp stage. Fourth stage is reed swamp stage. Reed swamp stage. Reed swamp stage. Reeds are basically woody plants. These are, but they have slender leaves, very thin leaves. And swamp is an area which favors growth of trees, whereas marsh is an area which favors the growth of herbaceous plants such as grasses. Now, what happens? In the fourth stage, which is known as reed swamp stage, the pond is now less shallow, right? Now reeds grow in this plant. What reeds? Such as phragmites. This is known as reed grass. Okay? Such as typha, phragmites, typha. These are some, species of plants which grow in the pond in reed swamp stage. Right? These, plants, these are emergent plants. What does that mean? Emergent plant means a plant which occurs in water body. Suppose a plant is in a pond. There is at the bottom of pond there is good amount of soil, right? This plant has roots. Those roots are fixed in the mud, but its leaves and stem are outside the water, exposed. They come out of the water, right? These are basically like this. This is stem and these are their leaves. Only difference between a submerged plant and these emergent plants is that submerged plant is inside the water. It may have its, leaves floating on surface of water and its roots fixed in the mud, but it doesn't come out of the water. Whereas these emergent plants, about whom I am talking in fourth, stage of aquatic succession, which is reed swamp stage. This stage is dominated by emergent plants, such as phragmites, such as typha. These are some plants in which, even for that matter, polygonum. It's another example, right? These plants have, rhizomes in their roots, and their rhizomes spread in the mud, and they, knit the mud. They knit the mud, and they form, leaf litter. As a result, a leaf litter is formed, because whatever debris there is, they just knit it together, and a leaf litter is formed. These are emergent plants. They come out of the water by the help of their stems or by the help of their leaves, but their roots are settled inside the water, fixed to the mud at the bottom of water body, whether the water body is pond or whether the water body is lake. Okay, now this leaf litter has started to be formed in the bottom of the lake, right? What this leaf litter is, it consists of, it could be some needle-like structures, it could be fallen leaves, it could be barks, right? This leaf litter, when knitted into the soil and mud, it is resistant to decay. When it is resistant to decay, then its amount will increase. Okay? The more its amount increases, the more pond or lake becomes less shallow. Right? इसकी जो डेप्थ होती है वो कम होती जा रही है. इस सेटअप से ऐसा होता है कि ये पॉन्ड एक साइड में लैंड में तब्दील होने जा रहा है, राइट? और वी सी कि इसमें वाटर सैचुरेटेड स्वैम्प बन जाता है. एक साइड में वाटर सैचुरेटेड स्वैम्प बन जाता है, राइट? वाटर सैचुरेटेड स्वैम्प बन जाता है, उसी में ये ग्रो करता है, राइट? दिस इज द फोर्थ stage in aquatic succession, reed swamp stage. मैं आपको कह रहा था, reeds जो होते हैं ये woody plants होते हैं with slender very thin stem or very thin leaves. Okay, ये phragmites, typha and polygonum, right? इनके rhizomes होते हैं, ये रूटेड होते हैं. वो राइजोम्स निट करते हैं मड को, और फिर बाकी जो वहां पे डेब्री होता है उसके साथ मिलके ये लीफ लिटर बनाते हैं, डेड लीव्स को मिला के. और ये लीफ लिटर जो है, दिस इज रेजिस्टेंट टू डिके. एज अ रिजल्ट ये डिके जब होता ही नहीं है, ये जमा होता जा रहा है, जिसकी वजह से अब एक एरिया बन जाता है, water saturated marshy land, marshy area begins to be formed in this lake or pond. Okay, then comes the fifth stage. First stage was the phytoplankton stage, second stage was the submerged stage, third stage was the floating stage, and then came fourth stage, reed swamp stage. Now fifth stage. Let us discuss fifth stage. Fifth stage is marsh meadow stage or sedge stage. marsh meadow stage. Marsh meadow stage. Marsh meadow stage. In this stage, plants such as juncus, plants such as Hydrach, these start growing. These are a bit, woody plants. These are woody plants, I may say. But their leaves are very, flexible, right? मार्श मीडो स्टेज इसको इसलिए कहते हैं कि इसमें मीडोज ग्रीन ग्रास लाइक स्ट्रक्चर ये प्लांट्स होते हैं, ठीक है। और ये मार्श मीडोज स्टेज को दूसरा नाम सेज स्टेज भी कहते हैं, सेज स्टेज, बिकॉज दीज marsh meadows are called as sedge stage because sedges are also grasses, ठीक है ना। And examples of plants are juncus and carycus, right? These form a green mat. When they grow, these form a green mat, green vegetation in the form of a mat towards the center of the, pond or water body. And they now lose water in the form of vapors by the process of transpiration. And this transpiration creates a water surplus. In the more water is lost, because we are just discussing the aquatic this succession in a water body. Now this water body has just started to convert into the land, to convert into a forest, right? Many steps we discuss it. First a thin layer of mud was formed, then thicker, then we saw the leaf litter, okay? And then because of in reed swamp stage, these reeds also form reed peat, and these marsh meadow plants also form marsh meadow peat. When both these peats combine in marsh meadow stage, now this water body, whether it is a pond or a lake, is no longer totally waterlogged. अब ये totally waterlogged नहीं है, इसमें कहीं कहीं पे बिल्कुल सॉइल बाहर आना शुरू हो गई है, ठीक है ना, बिल्कुल सॉइल सूखी हुई है, ठीक है। This is the marsh meadow stage or sedge stage. In this stage, right, these plants, juncus and caryx, these grow, these form a mat of vegetation extending towards the center of the water body, right? These plants form marsh meadow peat or sedge peat, ठीक है ना, when they die. As a result, now this water body is no longer totally a water body, totally waterlogged. Now the land has been exposed on some side of this lake or pond. इसमें land exposed होनी शुरू हो गई है, exposed होनी शुरू हो गई है. And then this stage, marsh meadow stage, marsh meadow stage is replaced by the woodland stage. Woodland stage. Do you know what is woodland? Woodland and forests are almost used interchangeably, but we can differentiate the woodland from forest land. That woodland can be very nearer to us. There may be shrubs, there may be trees, but forest can be very far away from us, and the number of trees there could be more than a woodland. Otherwise, whatever plants we will find in a forest, we can also find them in woodland also. Now, we have moved to the woodland stage. In this stage, now plants such as, salax, which we call willow, right? The plants such as populus, which we call as poplar, begin to, grow. Right? Willow, poplar, right? These plants, again, lose water by transpiration, either through leaves or stem, right? And this pond now has 70% or 80%, 90% changed into a land. It has started changing into a land. But why? Because ultimate goal of any type of succession, whether it is taking place in a desert, whether it is taking place on a rock, whether it takes place in a pond, in water, in a lake, all these successions ultimately form a forest. They form a forest. You must remember it. They form a forest, right? Now, in woodland, stage, plants like salax and populus start growing, right? They lose water, right? Because of transpiration, either through leaves or their stem. Now, 80% or I may say 90% of this pond has been changed into a land. Then, this woodland stage is replaced by climax stage, and climax stage is represented by climax community, those living organisms which occur in an area during succession, lost as the lost stage. That is known as climax stage. And climax stage is usually comprising of trees. And now when trees are formed there, we say that this is forest. And depending upon the environment, if the conditions are humid, if the conditions are humid, right, then the rainforests will be formed, right? Yeah, even for that matter, evergreen forests may be formed. Even for that matter, deciduous forests may be formed. And this forest or climax community, these consist of all types of plants. There may be herbs, there may be shrubs, there may be shade-loving plants, there may be, gymnosperms, angiosperms, every type of plants it can possess. And this is how this succession in, water takes place. With this, we have completed Hydrosere and Xerosere. Primary succession on a rock, which is known as Xerosere, and primary succession in a water body, such as lake or pond. And with this, we have completed. These two questions of ecology are most important. बहुत बार इनको board exams में पूछा गया है. Learn them and learn them very seriously. Thank you.